Hello, everyone, and welcome to One Teacher, One Scientist chat room. Our guest today is Abhay Rustam Sopuri, and I think I just have one word to describe him, and that is versatile. I think Abhay is the most versatile person I've come across till now. And along with, he's got a very interesting blend of a graduate degree in management and computers, and then a master's in music. And now he's pursuing his PhD in music as well. Abhay has been the recipient of, I think the list is endless to the number of awards that he's received, but he's been the youngest recipient of almost all the awards for his outstanding contribution in Indian classical music. Right from the Gandhi Global Peace Award by the United Nations to the Shiromani Award and also the Atal Shikhar Samman Award by the Parliament of India. I think Abhay has been the recipient of almost all the prestigious awards, including the Sangeet Natak Academy Award. Your grandfather was known as the father of music in Jammu and Kashmir. And, seeing the interesting blend of subjects that you took up, I'm sure music must have played a role in that as well. Like right from computer science and management to music. I think that's quite an interesting blend. How did you get that?
First of all, Vishalji, it's such a pleasure to interact with you today, and thanks for calling me for this session.
Pleasure.
Music definitely plays such an important role. If I talk about my case, I think my personality has been defined by music only. I personally feel whatever field a child takes, whatever career that we have, whatever studies that we finally decide to take as our expert field for taking our profession, there has to be some very basic foundation to that. And that foundation is actually very different from, it could be rather very different from what we must have been studying for years together. And that foundation is something which is connected to creative arts. Music, because of sound, comes as number one after, I would say, spirituality. So anything which connects us to our own self, it's very important for any human being. And that's my very sincere advice to all the children whom I have interacted over the years, that we have to have this basic foundation connected to us.
All the great scientists like Einstein, like Newton, they all played some instrument or the other. Even like thinkers like Rabindranath Tagore were great musicians or artists. So do you think there is a direct connection between music and arts and creativity, creative thinking?
Like Shakespeare said that music is the food for soul, and that is so important, and it's so important for the people in the educational field to realize this, that creative arts is not something that can be left aside and we can only concentrate on the academic side. So academic side is incomplete without the creative side. And all these great people, all these great scientists, anybody, they have had some connect to music. It's something which which builds your the power of your brain in such a manner that the level of concentration goes so high that you can actually create wonders after that. It's all creative arts. It could be a brush in the hand and you could paint across. It could be dance. It could be sculpture. It could be anything. But I'll be talking about music because I'm a musician. But then it's the sound. When we talk about sound therapy also.
Yeah.
So the sound has such an impact on the entire nervous system. It just elevates a being to some other level. And that is something which we have to provide to everybody. That we have examples when people really think that any child being in music would be losing his time, or in creative arts, or even for that matter in sports. That's not the case. It helps rather than deviating in thinking or wasting the time.
Yeah, you rightly put it that it really helps in improving the focus and concentration. And I think somewhere it also increases the depth of perception and, probably builds perspective in children, like a deeper perspective.
Now, when we listen to music, the first thing that happens is that it helps us to build that patience, That is so important for any human being on this planet. I think one of the main reasons that a person should have any creative arts right at the elementary level is to build patience. And of course, once you have patience, then the perspective comes in, you start grasping, you try to understand what is happening, and then you have your own point of view to add to it.
Like, what age should be an ideal age to start channelizing a child's energy towards classical music or learning formally an art form or an instrumental music?
See, if we talk about the scientific side, it's a proven fact that a child hears the sound while before birth. So
Yes.
even while being in mama's womb, the child can actually hear the sounds. That's how he recognizes the voice of the mother or the father. Now, talking about music, the music can actually start before the birth of a child.
Yeah.
If I talk about myself, there are so many things which I got naturally. Anything which Papa practiced before my birth is that came naturally to me. And for that, any student learning from my father, he'll take years, and I really didn't have to work too much on that. Yes, you get it naturally, but then you have to work on that to make it perfect. Same for any child. The perfect age would be any time. I mean, listening is something which can be started right from day one.
True.
And any child listening to classical music, his development is very different, and that's one of the reasons that all those areas where the societies have that focus on music and other performing arts, you see little difference in their children. They have natural ability to understand classical arts and other creative arts. But formally, I think you need little basic knowledge before coming on to instrumental music. I would suggest that people start with vocal music because that is something you don't need anything for singing. You can simply start. And so that is one practice. Let a child explore his creative field, creative area. And without being told whether it's good or bad, whether it's coming in the proper notes or not, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The worst can happen is that the voice would be in such a way, जिसे हम कहते हैं बेसुरा होगा. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Till a child is exploring it, why not? And later, if you want to take up music professionally, then if you have some basic knowledge of vocal system, rhythmic system, then taking up any instrument is very easy. And even shifting from Indian to Western or Western to Indian is very easy.
Yeah. So, these days we find that more and more children are drifting away from Indian classical music. Somehow we've not been able to catch the attention or the love that children have for other, genres of music. Somewhere Indian classical music has been left behind as far as this new generation goes. How do you think we can actually revive the love for Indian classical music in our Gen Next?
I think, Vaishali, first of all, it's something that we have failed to offer to our younger generation. So at no point of time we can say that they have actually gone on a different track, but rather we have not been able to give them what we expect. So it's the basic foundation, as I said. And any child, if we offer classical music to the child right from the beginning, he'll develop an interest to it. I never tell children, when I've interacted with them, be it school or schools or colleges or at any level, that you should only listen to classical music. No, why? One can listen to any good music. It has to be good music. But listening to good music, be it Indian classical, Western, let it be jazz, let it be anything. But we have to be connected to our roots. That's very important.
Yeah.
And you can't be a bird, you can't fly without feathers. And these feathers are your foundation. And this foundation is your art and culture. If we know our culture, we don't have to go into the depth of recognizing the ragas, which particular raga is being played. If a person knows, nothing like that. But if it's not known, it's perfectly fine. I don't know so many things in medical field. I don't know so many things in engineering field. So if we focus on this particular area, that we have to provide the basic beautiful aspect of our music to the child, we can simply offer that. And they have to be connected to the roots. If they know what Indian classical system is, if they know what Indian culture is all about, the rich heritage is all about, they can fly anywhere.
Attitude that children have developed towards their teachers, towards the education system. I mean, it's really sad. Maybe, that Guru Shishya Parampara, if it was something that was instilled in children, so that respect, that love for their teachers, their gurus, would be at a different level. And maybe as a society, we would see children dealing with each other and with elders in a more accepting and a more empathetic way.
If we talk about music, the Guru Shishya Parampara is still there. And that's one of the reasons that this tradition is going on, because it's an oral tradition primarily.
Yeah.
And we have thousands of books, but they don't tell us how to play the raga. They only tell the notes. Because see, what Guru Shishya Parampara, it's a beautiful tradition. It's what a person has learned from his or her guru.
Correct.
Guru has taught the Shishya, and then this chain has come forward. I could be a person belonging to a huge chain in this tradition. Now, everybody has added something to this chain. So the thought process, it has actually evolved over the generations. That's something really beautiful about the Guru Shishya Parampara. But there's something very important which this tradition teaches us. And that is the respect for our teachers, for our gurus. That is something I think we lack in this proper school education. We forget the names of our teachers at times. If you ask me, I don't remember the names of all my teachers in schools. But I do remember the teachers who taught me music in schools, or my sports coach. I remember their names because my connect with them was slightly different from that what it was for the other academic subjects. It could be that somebody will say that you come across hundreds of teachers in your life, so you can't remember so many names. But if we actually learn something from somebody, it's unfortunate that we even forget their names. There's no explanation to it. But that is the present scenario. We can't find faults with that. But yes, if we give some more focus to that, maybe we can absorb the beautiful parts of both the systems, the present academic system, the Guru Shishya Parampara, and whatever is best, let's bring them together and make a new system. Actually, Indian classical music is certainly I would say it's far advanced than any other form of music, and it's not just music. When we rather, I would say, when we talk about music, it's not just the seven musical notes that we are talking about. The worship of these seven notes is more powerful in Indian classical system, and that's what makes Indian classical system very beautiful and much different from any other genre of music. And same goes for Western classical as well. Now if we talk about certain deeper things like spirituality, so we have 7 chakras in our body. We have 7 notes. So many things are connected to 7. And if we talk about, say for example, the rainbow, so our colors are 7. It's a very meaningful number that we have. And when we talk about the chakras in our body, and through meditation, we elevate these chakras and go deeper into our own self. Each note is dedicatedly important for each chakra. And without even knowing the system of chakras, the Kundalini Yoga, if a person simply practices music, those chakras, get that energy which is required, and
they get balanced.
Actually, that gets balanced. Mm-hmm. So, not just about music; it's the balance of our entire human system that those 7 notes provide us, and the effect of those 7 notes is maximum in Indian classical music. That's why people say that be connected to classical music.
I think otherwise, beautiful points that you're making here, Abhay, because the moment a person has got his chakras balanced, I think somewhere he would be living a very inspirational life. He would not be like, he won't be rudderless. He would be so anchored within.
Through certain points in the new educational policy which has been framed, so they have mentioned that certain chapters would be taken away. Maybe that could be a good idea, but I'm really personally not sure what all should be taken out. But I'm very sure about what all should be included in it.
True.
We need to understand. We need to understand what India is. A child in India doesn't know what this country is. Delhi is not Delhi unless we learn about how Delhi was built.
True.
So we need to understand other areas. India is one of the only country, I would say, in the entire world which is a country in itself. It's a country into country into country.
Yeah, it's like many countries
into different cultures, and we have to understand those cultures. See, in Kashmir, we have over 5 languages. The dress code in Jammu is different from Kashmir, and earlier it was different from Ladakh also. There is one area in which there are so many languages. Now, if we travel from Kashmir and go up till Kanyakumari, we come across so many languages, so many dialects, so many attires, we talk about cuisines. It's so different.
True.
It's a mini country in itself. And by sitting in one particular state, we don't even know what is happening 300 kilometers away. We really need to understand our country. As a child, I think it's our duty to provide to the child this kind of knowledge. And this is really what is really going to help the child. By missing out this aspect, we are not providing the right kind of education to a child.
Yes, and I think somewhere that is what will also help children understand diversity. You know, India is such a diverse country that, for a child to accept diversity and become a global citizen just by understanding your own country, that level of acceptance, the level of understanding can really be inculcated right from the beginning if they are learning about every state in a different perspective. We needn't go into the dates of the battles and stuff, but yes, what was the impact that was that India took, or people in various parts of the country took towards, say, invasions, or by any act of historical reference. So it can also build a lot of I would say life skills and critical thinking.
Absolutely. And in the present times, when we are talking about globalization is wonderful, but it can have its adverse consequences as well. So if we are not aware of our own system, this globalization will simply,
Swipe
cover
us
up.
away.
Yeah, absolutely. See, I'll give you an example. People across the world, they have been saying that santoor as an instrument is not an Indian instrument. It's not an instrument from Kashmir, and rather it came from Central Asia. Now, there are no basis of saying that. But the moment, just because somebody would be very active on social media, he'll have a reach to 100 people compared to somebody who knows about the fact and is not on the social media. So we really need to bring our system in forefront, so that all these people who come up with self-acquired knowledge, which doesn't lead to anywhere, and something which has vested interest, we need to counter that, and for that we need to know our system. Now, santoor is a Shatatantri Veena, and the references go back thousands of years back. So how can we say that this instrument came from Central Asia? And then if we go hundreds and thousands of years back, then that Bharat was spread up till Central Asia, the present Central Asia. Then I would say that Central Asia is still part of Indian system.
Correct.
There have been, the political borderlines have changed, but we can't say that santoor is not an Indian instrument. This is one of the reasons that we need to understand what our own system is, and every child should know about this. And then gradually, whatever they want to take up in their life, they can take. And this would be one of the greatest assets that they would carry in their entire life.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Abhay, for such inspiring words. I just hope that, in times to come, children learn about their culture more and they get more and more rooted. Because I feel that once, it's like a plant. If a child is well rooted in his own soil, I think nothing, no uncertainty, no outside influence will actually swipe him away. He cannot be swept away. He'll have his own personality. He'll have his own plant, well rooted in his soil. So, yes, thank you so much, Abhay, for your wonderful insights. And I just hope more and more children look towards classical music as a very important part of their critical thinking and creative thinking sphere.
Thank you so much. Pleasure
Thank
speaking
you.
to you. Namaste.